Alright, so today I'm going to be testing out the 4 different molds of Essence that I think I've found. We have the Neo Essence, this year's Meta Essence Zen 2. We have a mystery box in the past. What seems to be online, what I found, is the Lux Essence, and then this year's mystery box, Vapor Essence. And we're going to put them on some lines, see how they fly compared to one another, and we'll discuss it afterwards. But don't forget, if you're looking for some new discs, you can go to the armorydiscgolf.com. The link will be in the description. Helping them out helps me out. I'm able to do more comparisons, get more discs, be able to do giveaways and other things. So check them out, and let's go do this. Alright, so on some of these first throws, as usual, I'm going to start off around 300, and we went with the Neo Essence, and flips up and then just drifts right, or at least the Neo Essence does, and just drifts right for a long time and never really comes out of it. We go into the Vapor Essence, and this one, it doesn't drift nearly as much. It only drifts a little before you see it actually does have more fade than the Neo Essence, and then does come back. And then the Lux Essence seems like it doesn't want to really push right at all, but it does push straight for quite a while before it does go into the fade part of the flight path. And then we got into the Zen 2, and again at 300 feet it just pushes forward, but it doesn't drift right into a turn at all like you see kind of in the first two, which we kind of know from another video. So it's a more stable and then fades out there at the end. And then we went into the 360 foot kind of tunnel shot, low ceiling, needs to push out, and then it's a bit more open, hoping it finishes straight and or with a little bit of fade. And the Neo Essence being the mold that I throw, I knew this one, it was going to flip up, and it does. It flips up straight, and with enough height, it does have its drift, but has enough room to finish out straight at the end. And then we go with the Vapor Essence, also flips up and pushes out till about 320, 340 before it does actually finish with its fade, and you see it never has the same drift that the Neo Essence had. And we're going to see that very similarly with the Lux Essence, but even more so. And this had slight headwind, but still pushed forward flat, but then had a way bigger swinging fade at the end. And they're all about the same distance, and it could have been nose up, but that one didn't seem to be that much different. And then the Zen 2, me expecting it to be the more overstable of the 4. I think I put it flat with a little Annie, and you see it just pushes over. And then we went into some big, so what I was trying to do with this one is around this tree, is it needs to push about 320 on Hyzer, and then get around with a wide Hyzer. And the Essence was able to do just that. It was able to push out. I kept it a little too tight to the tree, but it pushes out, and it doesn't really go into its fade until right about the length of the tree, but a little wider would have been better. And that's what I started to do with both the Lux and the Vapor Essence, is they both pushed out wide towards that wiring pole, and they both just push out wide really far, staying almost flat for one of them, and then they swing a good 60 to 80 feet to the left at the end of their flight, which is a really good use for an understable disc. I know I would have used to put an overstable disc trying to do that, but it wouldn't have swung, it would have just dived down. And that's what we kind of see with the Essence, is I tried to get it out there, but you see it doesn't want to push out for as long before it gets into its fade, and so it pushes, but then it comes into the tree a little too early. And then we went into a shorter version of that. I did about a 290, 280 wide Hyzer around a tree into a little island area, and so something overstable may not do it because it'll just want to dive into the ground and not swing out. And so that's where these might come in. And so I throw the Essence out, trying to get them all wide of that tree, and the Neo Essence pushes out quite a ways, and it almost pushes too far of the island, which is not a bad thing, it's just maybe a little too much. It pushes far and then swings like we expected. Same thing with the Lux and the Vapor Essence. They both pushed out really wide, had no trouble pushing for a distance before going into that swinging fade at the end, and they both just finished so nicely like into that island area. So shots that I've not done in tournaments, but I now, having tested them, know that that's such a better use for them unless you're absolutely trying not to flip it over, like you're going over water. And then this is again where you see the stability of the Meta Essence, is that one, I might have even had on a little more Hyzer, but even then, like you see it go up, it wants to quickly just swing into its fade, and it does still swing pretty far, but it goes into that fade part of the flight path way sooner and barely squeezes around that tree. Again, not bad, it's just the reality of the Meta Essence. And then lastly, I wanted to do a wide open left to right wind shot. So seeing with these understable discs how much the wind is really going to push it, and then testing its stability to fight against the wind if it has enough room to do so. And the Essence, nice and low, flips up and then has the drift we talked about, and then just finishes with a slight small fade. And even more so with that wind pushing it over is what I would have expected. And so with the with the Vapor Essence, it was the same idea. I might have put it up a bit higher, so giving it a little more room to work and maybe a little nose up, but you see the wind doesn't actually push it over into its turn a whole lot. Same with the Lux, pushes up straight and then kind of like moves a little bit, but never really goes into much of a turn. And then just finishes with its fade. And the Zen is what kind of surprised me the most, is that I think it might have been the angle I threw it on, so I gave it enough to put some turn into it, and because it had some turn in it, the wind pushed it into the turn part of the flight path even more, but you'll see its stability still makes it fight out against the wind at the end, so it ended up being the more stable of the two. Regarding their feel in the hand, I do know that the Neo Essence, just like any other Neo plastic, it's cold right now, so it's a bit firm, kind of slippy, but it's still like I can get a hold of it. I like it in the hand. The Vapor obviously seems to have the most give between that and I think even all three of them. So the Vapor Essence, it doesn't have much more grip than the Neo Essence, but it does have some more, and like you can see the give in it, but it has a little more grip. Same thing with the Lux. The Lux actually feels just like Neo plastic, in my opinion, so just as slippy, like you've really got to get a good one, kind of breathe in the hand, get grip in your hand first, and then it feels good. And then the Meta Essence, just like any of you have ever thrown, it has about as much grip at the moment as the Vapor, just slightly less, but a little more than the Neo, and actually has some give. So my overall thoughts are that when it comes to the Neo Essence, for me, this is the one that flies most true to that -2-1, and that's why I want this one in the bag the most. I want this to be that disc that's going to push into a turn relatively easy and with an effortless like Hyzer flip to straight, really low, not needing to put a lot into it, and with a really, really soft fade at the end. The Vapor isn't far off of that, so if you just find the Neo Essence is a little too touchy, these Vapor Essence might be that one just slightly above it that you could try out, that doesn't fight too much into the turn, but it's not as stable as the Lux and Meta Essence. And then the Lux and Meta Essence, for me, they don't fly with that -2 turn I'm looking for this slot. And if you're wanting a straighter fairway that's also going to have a little bit of flip up to it and maybe not as beefy as a brand new Neo Instinct, then the Meta Essence or the Lux Essence might be the way for you to go. It's really cool seeing a lineup of 4 different molds, and so that's pretty cool. And so let me know your thoughts on which ones you've thrown, or if you have any insight about these that I just didn't really touch on or know about. So let me know. Always trying to learn, and thanks for watching.